Today we're going to react to a post-game show from the Sports Programming Network, talking about the recent elimination of the San Francisco 49ers in their tough matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was an unexpected outcome for everyone watching. It's that kind of end-of-season analysis, with a lot of emotion involved, frustrated fans, and plenty of questions about what went wrong in this decisive and surprising game. But first, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. That helps me keep bringing videos to you.
Niners postgame now, live brought to you by Toyota. Matt Miyoko, Rob Brooks, Carlos Ramirez. Talk about a game, Matt, that was set, the tone was set from the beginning with that kickoff return from Redick Shaheed. From there on out, everything went the Seahawks' way tonight.
Yeah, 13 seconds. That's basically how long it took this game to be decided. 13 seconds it took for Redick Shaheed to return that kickoff all the way. Big picture, 49ers had a really good season this year, quite clearly. They ended the bid of the Philadelphia Eagles to repeat as Super Bowl champs. But tonight, it doesn't feel that way. Tonight, at least, we can talk about the good season, I think, maybe later. Because right now, they got manhandled. And that had to be a huge disappointment for them because they had done well enough and they felt like they were going into this game with some momentum where they could achieve what many would have considered the impossible. And they absolutely got manhandled in this game, and that was a huge disappointment.
It was an extension of what we saw in Week 18, where the Niners got beat on both lines of scrimmage. The Seahawks just completely and totally took away anything as far as the downfield passing game for the Niners. The Niners wide receivers were completely and totally removed from the game. The Niners once again could not stop Seattle on the ground. They couldn't make Sam Darnold beat them. And then even when they did get Sam Darnold and that Seahawks offense into obvious passing downs, either Darrell Luter was getting picked on or Luter got picked on with the Bobo 3rd and 10 penalties. That also played a role in the game. So and to start from the beginning, it sure seemed like it was just a little bit too bright for the Niners. It was just a little bit too intense for the Niners. And tonight, the Seahawks proved that over the course of this season and really over the course of the 3 games, they were the superior opponent. Tonight, the score definitely reflects it.
Let's go out to Lumen Field, live in Seattle with Jennifer Lee Chandler, 49ers reporter. Jen, welcome to the show. Take us back to the beginning of the game. How did Lumen Field feel after that Redick Shaheed kickoff return, and did the momentum ever wane down after that?
I lost him. Carlos, I can't hear you. It is super loud here. I think we lost connection, but just from the beginning, this was too much for this 49ers really, really injured roster to get over. There were quite a few Seahawks fans just so loud throughout the entire game. It didn't matter whether it was a blowout or not, but the 49ers just could not keep up. This was a season where, it was a scrappy team that really outperformed expectations after losing Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. So not a shocker that this ended up this way. It's kind of a surprise that they lasted as long as they did and playing as well as they did for so long.
Jennifer, how do you sum up, let's see if you can hear me now, how do you sum up the season for the 49ers, if you can hear me?
I can't hear you. It was for what they had to work with. Kyle Shanahan, again, is in the mix for Coach of the Year. Robert Saleh is in the mix for another head coaching position. What they did with who they had on the roster, you go down the laundry list of players that have been injured at least at some point during this game, and it's a surprise that they made it this far. Now, I believe that they had a chance tonight, but they absolutely showed that they did not have a chance, and I think it just started with such a huge play by the Seattle Seahawks, that kickoff return for a touchdown, and then the 49ers could never get any momentum going. They did not have a spark at all. A touchdown, a turnover, some sort of big play would have kind of sparked the momentum. They did get a stop here and there, but really just no momentum, no life from this 49ers team that we've seen have so much life throughout this season.
Jen, thank you so much. Great job as always up in Seattle. Jennifer Lee Chandler live from Lumen Field. Great season as well for Jennifer, being there every single game. The overreactions are brought to you by Toyota. Rod, you first. The season is over, however. Let me ask you, is this still, after what we saw today in Week 18, Kyle Shanahan's best season as a head coach?
Absolutely. It's with all the injuries and all of the injuries and the way that this offense was able to perform, it's clearly the best coaching job he's done.
Matt?
For sure.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's kind of, recency bias. You always think of the last game you saw. So, it will take a little bit of time, I think, for the fan base and for the team to get over this. And I think it'll take a while for, the players to look back on this season fondly. But, I think when you do take a step back and you look at what they did, 12-5 during the regular season, going on the road and winning a playoff game, to make it that far, I just think that they felt like, they just could have been a heck of a lot more competitive here in this game at Seattle.
He kept the team engaged. He kept the team believing over the course of the regular season with all the injuries. I do have one complaint and one request. The short yardage situations for them got to improve.
Yeah.
They have to improve. I understand that the third down play maybe impacted or influenced what they called on 4th and 1, that aborted somewhat trick play. But to me, all season long, the Niners' short yardage situations left a lot to be desired. And I think it got too cute at times. And if this team is going to make what we think is the logical next step, those are important yards. And some would say those are hidden yards, and they just have to be better. So that's what we're not.
Let's go back to the beginning of the game. We talked about setting the tone early, did the Seahawks with this player, too, Eddie Pinheiro.
Looked like it.
So,
slide tackle. Tried to. Anyway.
And you could feel, even just watching it, how that Lumen Field crowd, the decibels just continued to rise. So the 49ers needed a lot of things to break really favorably for them Saturday night in order to pull off the upset. And it would have been an upset. Yeah. They were a huge underdog heading into this game. So they couldn't do the same thing they did against Chicago in Week 17. Remember, they spotted the Bears 7 points, and they were able to put it together. Hey, they weren't facing the Bears defense. They were facing Seattle's defense. And that hole that they dug for themselves was something they just couldn't come back from.
One of the biggest shockers of the season was the Niners special teams and how it had climbed up to, in all of the normal metrics, it had climbed up to the second best special teams unit in the league.
Behind the Jets, if you can believe it.
Exactly, from last year to where they were this year. Seattle, best, without a doubt, special teams unit over the course of the season. And over the last few weeks, the Niners special teams in terms of kick and punt coverage and kick and punt returns had actually regressed, and we saw the eventuality of that tonight. But it's hard to come back from that if you give up a 30-yard run, if you have that trick play that doesn't work on 4th and 1, a pass interference that kept Seattle's drive going. You had that hold by Jordan Elliott that killed a third down stop, and that led to eventually a Seattle touchdown. So it's hard to come back from spotting up 7 points if it's mistake after mistake after mistake.
Let's compare quarterbacks here on the show. Brock Purdy v. Sam Darnold, the former 49er, today taking the best of the game. This is the QB comp. Now, if you see there, this was I told you guys on the green room, if Sam Darnold throws more than 20 passes, I would be shocked. Not just because of the oblique injury, but because of how they want to play this game. Sure enough, he only needed 17 throws.
I only look at two stats. Yards per attempt for Brock Purdy to be 5.2 and Sam Darnold to be 7.3. That's a big part of it.
It'll certainly hurt the 49ers because the backup tight ends were involved in a couple of those turnovers that were really avoidable in this game.
But, for me, for the Niners to work, it has to be complementary football. If they give it away, they're going to have to find a way to take it back. And, when it was a one-score game or a two-score game, a 10-point game, if the Niners are able to get a turnover out of Sam Darnold, again, we're talking about an if here, and that's a load-bearing wall in my argument. But if they get a turnover from Sam Darnold, they might be able to put themselves in a position to get a field goal or get a touchdown and make it a true one-score game. So the fact that they're unable to get a turnover off of a guy who's given 20 over the course of this season, the offense didn't do its job, but the defense has to chime in too.
Let's focus on the defense. That's the Seattle defense for this game. They were, again, fantastic. This has the beginnings. It has the blueprint, Rod, of even though it's a different scheme, different coaching or coaching scenario, this to me has the potential to become yet another Legion of Boom kind of because of their youth, their personnel, their coaching. This is a scary defense.
The only thing they don't have,
starting front four, that in the minds of him and maybe some of the other players, was that you have to start doing the things now that you hope will show up in the 2026 season.
he had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. He couldn't bounce anything.
Literally.
Exactly. He couldn't bounce anything outside. Anything that came between the tackles, it was tough sledding. He only averaged 3.2 yards per carry. And as we saw in that highlight package, every time he touched the ball or every time he was running.
After that, it became very clear that the game had completely slipped out of the 49ers' control. Right at the start, when you take such a hard hit on the very first play, everything gets more difficult. Confidence drops, the team can't get going, and every mistake counts double. Even when they tried to stay alive at certain moments, it never really seemed like the team got into the game. At the same time, you can look at the season as a whole and understand that it was a year above expectations, especially with so many important injuries. The problem is that when it comes to the playoffs, nobody wants to hear that. Fans remember the last game, and this was a tough ending. No reaction and no real hope for a comeback. Like I said, a complete humiliation, unfortunately, but that's just my opinion. Leave a comment with your opinion. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me. Also, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That said, see you next time.